Leaving your dog could be breaking their heart, and you don't even know it. Here's the problem. Your pre-departure cues, keys, shoes, long goodbyes, can stack into panic that lasts for hours. Fix it with a 3-second ritual before you touch the door. No eye contact, no goodbye, drop a worn t-shirt in their den and leave calmly. In the next minute, you'll get a 10-step checklist and the number 1 mistake to stop today. Number 10, don't make leaving an event. Keep it boring. Your calm becomes their calm. Picture this. You're standing at the door, your dog's eyes fixed on you like you're the center of their universe. The keys jingle in your hand, and to them, that sound is thunder. They don't hear "I'll be right back." They hear the drumbeat of abandonment. Every hug, every whispered goodbye you pour into those last seconds is like pouring gasoline on their fear. Dogs mirror you. If you leave like the world is ending, they'll believe it is. Instead, think of departure like slipping out of a theater between acts. No spotlight, no curtain call, just quiet movement into the next scene. A casual "see you later" in a cheerful tone, no eye contact, no long pause. Drop a worn t-shirt with your scent into their safe spot and walk out as if nothing big is happening. The calmer your energy, the more you teach them that being alone is normal, not a crisis. And here's the twist. Breeds most prone to separation anxiety, like Labradors, Border Collies, or Rescues, cling to every micro-expression you show. One dramatic sigh, one long embrace, and you've set the stage for hours of pacing, whining, or tearing up the couch. But when you exit, like it's routine, they exhale too. It feels counterintuitive, almost cold, but it's the highest form of love. You're showing them that they are safe even when you're gone. And the reward, a dog who rests easy until you return. But keeping calm at the door is only the first step. What about the storm of energy bottled up inside them before you leave? That's where the next secret comes in. Number 9. Don't forget to tire them out. Imagine leaving a kettle on the stove with the flame turned high. You step out close the door and hope the house stays calm. That's exactly what happens when you leave your dog brimming with unused energy. Their body is charged, their mind restless, and without an outlet, that fire has to go somewhere into your shoes, your couch, or their own nervous pacing. Here's the truth. A tired dog is a peaceful dog. It doesn't mean exhausting them to collapse. It means giving their body a rhythm, a sense of release before you go. Just 15 minutes of tug-of-war, a brisk walk, or a short training game can drain that buzzing electricity from their muscles and replace it with calm. And when you walk out afterward, the memory of play lingers like a warm lullaby, pulling them into rest instead of worry. Think of it as winding down a music box. If you spin it too tight and leave the song plays frantically, notes clashing until the spring gives out. But if you let it unwind gently in your presence, by the time you're gone, all that's left is quiet. High-energy breeds, huskies, shepherds. Jack Russells especially need this ritual, or else they'll invent their own fun in your absence. Fun that often looks like shredded pillows or chewed-up remotes. And here's the fear you might not admit: every time you rush out without giving them that release, you're rolling dice with their mental health. Dogs without stimulation don't just get bored, they spiral into anxiety, even depression. The clock ticks differently for them, slower, heavier. But when you've burned that energy, time softens. They sleep, they dream, they wait peacefully. So before you think "I'm too busy today," remember, this 10 minutes of fetch could mean 8 hours of quiet. And once you've calmed their body, the next question is, where will they retreat when fear still tries to creep in? Number 8. Give them a safe den or retreat zone. Think of your home through your dog's eyes. To you, it's walls, rooms, furniture. To them, it's a vast wilderness, where sounds echo like thunder and shadows stretch into unknown shapes. And in that wilderness, every creature longs for a cave, a place where the world cannot touch them. Dogs are den animals by nature, hardwired to crave a little corner that whispers safety. When you leave and the house falls silent, does your dog have that cave? It doesn't need to be fancy. A crate draped with a soft blanket. A quiet laundry room turned into a little fortress. Even a simple corner with their bed. And a worn t-shirt that smells like you. That scent isn't just fabric. It's a thread of comfort, tying them back to you even while you're gone. Like a child clutching a favorite blanket, your dog breathes in that familiar smell, and the fear of emptiness softens. Here's the mistake too many owners make, thinking open space equals freedom. But to a nervous pup, open space feels like exposure. The world too big, too loud, too unsafe. That's why smaller, cozier zones calm them more than wide-open rooms. For sensitive breeds, Chihuahuas, Dachshunds, French Bulldogs, this little haven can be the difference between panic and peace. And here's the bit you can't ignore. Without a safe retreat, every sound, a passing truck, a neighbor's footsteps, becomes a monster. With it, those sounds are muffled, distant, almost irrelevant. So create that den. Not confinement, but comfort. A home within a home. And once they know they can retreat when they're alone, you'll notice something magical. Their confidence grows even when you're around. But a safe space only solves half the problem. Because what happens when the silence of that den stretches into hours with nothing to do, that's where the next secret becomes crucial. Number 7. Don't leave them with nothing to do. Close your eyes and imagine being locked in a room for 8 long hours. No phone, no book, no music, not even a window to look through. At first, your mind might wander, but soon the silence grows heavy, and boredom turns into agitation. That's the prison many dogs face every time we step out and leave them with nothing. Dogs don't just sit quietly waiting. Their minds churn, their instincts itch for work, and without a task, boredom mutates into anxiety. A dog left idle often invents their own projects. A shoe becomes an enemy. A couch becomes a battlefield. A pillow becomes confetti. It's not mischief, it's desperation, a survival tactic for an empty mind. And here's the part most owners miss. Boredom doesn't just wreck your furniture, it eats at your dog's spirit. Depression in dogs is real, and it often begins with nothingness. The solution: turn your absence into a treasure hunt. Scatter toys like clues in a mystery novel. Stuff a Kong with peanut butter, freeze it, and leave it as a puzzle. Hide small treats in corners under blankets behind a chair, so every sniff becomes an adventure. Rotate the toys daily, so each day feels new. For working breeds, Australian Shepherds, Poodles, Golden Retrievers, this mental exercise matters as much as a run in the park. Think of enrichment as stories for their minds. When their brain has a script to follow, the hours pass like pages in a book, not minutes on a clock. The risk of chaos shrinks, and what remains is calm curiosity. But toys and puzzles can only soothe so much. What about the silence that wraps around them when the house is empty? A silence that sometimes hurts more than the boredom. That's where the next secret steps in. Number 6. Don't leave. Random TV or radio on silence can feel heavy, but noise can be cruel. Many owners think, I'll just leave the TV running. It'll keep my dog company. On the surface, it sounds comforting, human voices in the background, a hint of life filling the empty rooms. But to your dog, that random stream of sound is a roller coaster they never agreed to ride. One moment it's soft music, the next it's a blaring commercial or an explosion from a movie trailer. Imagine drifting toward sleep and suddenly being jolted awake by thunder. That's what your dog feels. Dogs are far more sensitive than we admit. Breeds like Cocker Spaniels, Whippets, or Toy Poodles can pick up every shift in tone, every sudden bang, and without you there to reassure them, fear snowballs. What was meant as comfort becomes chaos. And here lies the hidden danger repeated, startles. Teach your dog that being alone is unpredictable, even unsafe. The fix isn't silence or random noise, it's curated calm. Think of it as emotional air conditioning, a soundscape that keeps the temperature of their nervous system steady. Dog calming playlists, heartbeat rhythms, gentle classical music. Even dog TV channels on YouTube designed specifically to soothe these. Don't just fill space, they regulate mood. It's the difference between a storm outside and a steady rainfall that lulls you to sleep. Here's the fear you can't ignore. Leaving noise to chance is like leaving their emotions to chance. And the cost is measured in hours of anxiety. But when you choose the right sound, you become present, even in your absence. Still, even with comfort sounds, there's another layer to their well-being. Dogs crave connection with the outside world, even when they can't step beyond the door. Which brings us to the next secret one that changes the way your dog sees the world from inside your home. Number 5. Open the curtains. Before you leave, picture your dog pressed against the window nose, fogging up the glass eyes, tracking the world outside. To you, it's just a window, but to them, it's a movie screen, a lifeline, a reminder that the world is still spinning, even though you're gone. When you close the curtains, you shut down that theater. The walls close in, and suddenly, their universe shrinks to 4 silent corners. Boredom thickens, anxiety prowls, and the day stretches like an endless tunnel. But when the curtains are open, everything changes. Birds swoop past leaves, dance in the wind, neighbors stroll with groceries, each small scene becomes an anchor of interest. For alert breeds like Beagles, Shiba Inus, or Terriers, that view is not distraction, it's therapy. It reassures them that life continues, that they are still part of the great conversation outside those walls. Sunlight streaming through becomes more than light. It's warmth that seeps into their fur, turning an anxious wait into a cozy nap. A patch of sun on the carpet is to a dog the closest thing to natural medicine. Yet here lies the risk: too much view can stir too much guard duty. The squirrel that taunts them, the car that flashes by the mailman, who never seems to leave a gift. For some dogs, an open curtain is a stage for endless barking. The trick is balance. Choose the calmer window crack, the curtain halfway, offer a view that intrigues but doesn't overwhelm. Here's the bit you can't ignore: a simple curtain can tilt their day from restless to restful. One pull of fabric is all it takes to give them the feeling of connection instead of confinement. But vision alone won't feed their spirit. The next secret dives into something more primal, more dangerous: the instinct to eat everything in sight the moment you walk away. Number 4. Don't leave too much food out. Think of your dog as a descendant of wolves, sitting at a feast that may never come again. In their blood runs the memory of famine, the instinct that says eat now because tomorrow is not promised. When you leave a full bowl brimming with food, you imagine kindness. To them, it's a signal of urgency. They gulp it down in minutes, stomach stretched, breath heavy, then spend hours bloated and restless. What you thought was love becomes discomfort, even danger. Dogs don't pace themselves. Labradors, pugs. Beagles, breeds famous for endless appetites, are especially vulnerable. That full dish is not a gift. It's a test they cannot pass. And here's the part Most owners miss overeating when alone doesn't just risk their digestion, it fuels anxiety. A heavy belly with no relief, a long day without movement, it's like being trapped in your own body waiting for unease to fade. The smarter way is to turn meals into timekeepers. A timed feeder that clicks open hours after you've gone becomes a reassuring signal. Life is still happening. Food still arrives, even when my human is not here. Puzzle feeders snuffle mats, kibble hidden under cushions or scattered in corners. Suddenly eating isn't just eating, it's a game, a mission, a story to follow through the hours. Food becomes not just sustenance, but rhythm, pacing their day. Here's the bit you can't afford to ignore every time you leave a mountain of food. You rob your dog of patience, of stimulation, of health. But when you portion pace and play with meals, you give them structure. And structure is security. Still, even with bellies satisfied and routines intact, one truth remains: being alone for hours is unnatural. How do you prepare your dog for separation without breaking their trust? That's where the next secret begins. Number 3. Practice short absences. Imagine asking a child who has never been alone to spend an entire day without you. The silence would feel unbearable, the hours endless, the fear overwhelming. Dogs are no different. Yet too many owners expect them to handle 5, 6, even 8 hours alone with no practice, as if resilience could appear out of thin air. The truth is, separation is a skill, one that must be taught slowly, gently, like teaching someone to swim. It begins with the smallest steps. Slip out the door for a minute, then return before their panic blooms. The next time, make it 5, then 10. Each departure becomes a lesson, each return a promise kept. Use a simple phrase, "I'll be back," as your seal, your ritual. Dogs are astonishingly quick to form associations, and soon those words become a lifeline. They hear it and think, "My human always comes back." That phrase, repeated with calm certainty, can be more powerful than any toy or treat. Picture their heart like a fragile glass. If you vanish for hours without warning, you drop it on stone, it shatters. But if you strengthen it gradually, layering trust with each return, that glass becomes tempered. They stop counting the minutes and start trusting the pattern. Here's the danger you can't overlook. Dogs left without this training often spiral into destructive chaos. They chew, they cry, they soil the house not out of defiance, but despair. And the more it happens, the deeper the wound of mistrust grows. But when you practice absence like rehearsal, your return becomes a guarantee, not a gamble. The day they finally endure a full afternoon without panic, you'll know you've given them a gift, the ability to be alone without feeling abandoned. And yet, even with practice, what happens when their cries break the silence? Do you ignore them or answer? The next secret reveals why your response in those moments could make or break their trust. Number 2. Don't ignore their cries. The sound of your dog crying behind a closed door is like a thread pulling at your heart. Some people tell you, don't go back. Let them cry it out. They'll learn. But dogs are not babies testing boundaries. Their cries are not tantrums. They are signals, raw, unfiltered pleas of confusion and fear. When you vanish and never return until hours later, those cries echo into emptiness. And in that emptiness, your dog begins to believe maybe they're not coming back. Imagine being stranded in a strange place, calling out your voice, bouncing off walls unanswered. Would silence teach you calm or deepen your panic? For dogs, silence is not a lesson. It's abandonment, carved deeper into their bones. Going back in when they cry doesn't mean dramatic cuddles or rewarding noise. It means showing up with quiet reassurance. A brief glance, a calm presence, a gentle step back out. You're teaching them that fear does not summon chaos, but calm brings security. Here lies the bit that most miss: ignoring a dog's distress doesn't toughen them. It fractures trust. Instead of learning independence, they learn despair. And despair repeated often enough becomes anxiety that clings for life. But when you answer wisely, calmly, briefly, you teach them the truth their heart longs for: I always come back. You are never forgotten. Over time, the cries fade not because they gave up, but because they learned safety. And yet, even after the tears dry and the house falls quiet, one final danger waits. The real test comes not when you leave, but when you return. How you handle that moment decides whether the cycle of anxiety breaks or begins all over again. Number 1. Never punish separation. Anxiety. You open the door after hours away, and chaos greets you: shredded pillows, chewed shoes, maybe even an accident on the floor. Your heart sinks, your patience snaps, and the first instinct is to scold. But here's the painful truth: what you see as misbehavior is often a cry for help. Your dog wasn't plotting revenge. They weren't teaching you a lesson. They were drowning in panic, and destruction was the only way to breathe. Punishment in that moment is like striking someone already gasping for air. It doesn't erase the fear, it adds another layer. Now the story in your dog's mind is this: when I'm alone, I panic. And when they come back, I'm punished. Your return, which should be relief, becomes another trigger of dread. The cycle deepens, the trust cracks, and every departure grows heavier with shadow. Instead, think of the scene not as a crime, but as a message written in torn fabric and broken silence. What was missing? Did they have enough exercise before you left a safe den? Toys to chase away boredom, the chance to practice shorter absences. Fix the root, not the result. Gentle leadership, patience, and structure are what heal. And for dogs with deep scars, rescues high anxiety breeds. Sometimes the wisest act of love is seeking help from a trainer or vet crafting a plan tailored to their heart. Here's the piece: most people never realize every calm, measured response to their fear builds a bridge back to trust. Every time you resist anger and choose guidance instead, you teach them a new ending to the story. When you leave, you always return. And when you return, I am safe. So next time you pick up your keys, pause. Remember the eyes watching you, the heartbeat waiting behind the door. These 10 changes aren't just tricks. They're proof of love in the moments you're not there. And if you've stayed with me until now, tell me, what's the one thing your dog does when you're about to leave? Share it in the comments, and let's learn from each other. So now you know, the way you leave your dog is never just about stepping out the door. It's about shaping their world in the hours you're gone. Every calm exit, every safe space, every thoughtful ritual is a thread that weaves trust, comfort, and love into their day. These aren't just tips. They're silent promises: you are safe, you are loved, and I will always come back. But here's the real question: what do you do before leaving that makes your dog feel most secure? Drop it in the comments. Your story might be the lifeline another dog parent needs. And if you want your bond with your dog to grow deeper every day, don't stop here. Hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss the next lesson in your journey together. Because the love you show when you're gone is just as powerful as the love you show when you're home.